everything European football. This is your home for all the updates, the previews, the reviews. Good afternoon to everyone. It's December 27, 2025. And just like I always say, it's an interactive show, so you can send in your thoughts 053996 I'm Gabi Affair. You can find me on X, also known as Twitter, at Gabi Milito7. Gabi Milito7. Go there, leave your thoughts, and I'll be glad to read them out for you. We are live on YouTube, City Sports GHA. So you can also leave your thoughts right there. And then on X, you can also find us at City FM, just in case you are listening to us from there as well. And then we're live on TV, Channel 1 TV. It's the Republic of Football. Right, today, this is what we are going to do. The first 1 hour will be dedicated to all the European football updates, and then the last 1 hour we'll talk some AFCON. We'll take you to Morocco and bring you all the updates from the 2025 AFCON. Yesterday, I actually had somebody text me and say that the person was asking me, how do I feel talking about the AFCON every time and then the Black Stars of Ghana are not there? And I was like, you know, there's a job to be done. Yeah, we have to do the job by providing the updates. Whether the Black Stars are there or they are not there, we still have to talk about the AFCON. You get me? Yeah. But for me, you know, I'm supporting the Super Eagles of Nigeria. I just hope they don't disappoint. They reached the finals last time out, lost to Cote d'Ivoire, who were the host nation at the last AFCON. So we'll get into the AFCON conversation somewhere around 3 p.m., right? And then we'll review all the games so far. Round 2 started yesterday. So it's getting really interesting. I'm loving every bit of the AFCON. Just a few hitches here and there. Some few decisions I thought were funny yesterday, especially that penalty was handed to Mohamed Salah. Look, let's do better. Right, welcome again to the show. I'm Gabi Affair. I've got Kelvin Edem Kai in studio with me. Eugene Soti also in studio with me, and then Yao J Menta is also here with me as well. You can also join us by sending your thoughts on the WhatsApp line 0539 986 996. It's 0539 986 996, not 0549. Yeah, so please do not text to 0549. Text to 0539 96. The only difference is the 3 and 4. You see, don't get yourself confused. So 0539 986 996, and I'll read them out for you. If you're a big fan of YouTube as well and you want to leave your thoughts over there, feel free to do so as well, and I'll be glad to read them out for you. See, as for our YouTube guys, Charlie, you guys are amazing, you know. You're always like on time, way before the host. Like you're there waiting for me to just sign in, and then you start leaving your thoughts. Yeah. We appreciate you guys. Right, let me welcome my guys, and then I'll run you through the fixtures for today, and then we'll get talking. Good afternoon to Kelvin Edem Kai. Good afternoon, Eugene Silty. We good?
All good. Very, very good.
Are you guys chopping the Christmas?
No. So.
Then what is this?
Oh no, but it's been a combination of a lot of things. So like,
I've been working.
Yeah, I'm just experiencing.
But I know that after work you've been doing things.
Oh, I don't know what that means. So yesterday, coach wanted to ambush me here with a similar thing, but I ran away quickly. I don't know what that means. I've been going home to my mom.
Boys have been doing things after work. Eugene. Have you been doing things too?
Oh, I beg you. Me, it's only. I think the only thing I do is work. After work, and then I rest. Yeah.
Okay. Great stuff. And just like I said, right, guys, about our YouTube guys, see, they don't disappoint. Abednego Boateng 6086 SM, and we are live. You do not make me miss the commentary that much. Big ups to you, or we love you, or we love you too. Abednego. J Keck says we are live. I'm here to support City draw or lose. Okay. At Gosway Possible 2049 says we are live. So yes, the guys are already reacting. Okay, let's get talking. Let me just start off with the fixtures happening today. So for the European fixtures, right, just in case you didn't know, for the uninitiated, it's the EPL and the Serie A, which is still ongoing. For the French Liga, the Spanish La Liga, the German Bundesliga, they say they are enjoying Christmas, so you both should go and sleep. They'll come back early January. Oh guys, I mean that one. They say make you go sleep.
Yeah, make you sleep. This they want.
So I've seen a few players trooping to Morocco to go support their brothers. I saw Kylian Mbappe yesterday at Morocco's game against Mali, supporting, of course, one only player, Ashraf Hakimi. But Hakimi did not start that game though.
Maybe he was supporting his teammate as well, Brahim Diaz.
Oh, Brahim Diaz.
Who scored Morocco's goal?
Yeah,
So Brahim Diaz has 2 goals already.
Yeah.
Because he scored in the opening game.
Yeah, scored.
So has Salah, so has Nicolas Jackson.
Yeah.
So it looks like.
But then.
No. Once I mentioned Nicolas Jackson,
Gabi, what Gabi does when Nicolas Jackson's name comes
up
up?
to some agenda. No, that's why I was like.
You said I mentioned Brahim Diaz.
Yeah, you said, mentioned the people on 2 goals.
And I told you those
Why Jackson?
So Jackson to score.
He has 2 goals.
He has 2 goals.
He scored Senegal's first 2 goals of the tournament.
Yeah, Jackson.
You just have to.
He just didn't score 2 goals. The first 2 goals of their tournament.
That guy, he could have even scored a hat-trick on the first day.
You can't. I mean, Jackson is a superb striker. I love him.
Okay.
Okay, we'll get to the AFCON talk a bit later. Guys, let me just run our viewers and listeners through the EPL fixtures, right? It's match day 18. Match day 18, right? Match day 18. It started yesterday. It was Newcastle United who were in action against Manchester United. That game ended 1-0. Ketsi Patrick Dogu giving United all 3 points. And so United are really closer to Chelsea, who have a game in hand. Chelsea take on Villa later today at 5:30. Yeah, but the early kickoff for today started at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest up against Manchester City. As we speak, is Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 1. We'll talk more about that game, and then I'll get you the goal scorers for that game involved. Between Manchester City and Forest. Yeah. At 3 p.m., the 3 p.m. batch of matches, there is Arsenal taking on Brighton at the Emirates at 3 p.m. Same time, we'll see Brentford up against Bournemouth. Burnley will take on Everton at the Turf Moor. And then at Anfield is Liverpool taking on Wolves. At the London Stadium, West Ham United take on Fulham. And then the final game for today is at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea v Aston Villa at 5:30 p.m. So that's the fixtures for today in the English Premier League. I like the fixtures so much. Yeah, I see some upsets coming somewhere. Yeah.
You're writing upsets for people. Don't do that.
But upsets go fee come. Speaking of upsets, I thought one will happen on the City Ground, but check like Enfa.
I think Forest largely restricted Man City in the first half if you were watching closely.
Yeah.
But after City got the goal, the game kind of opened up a bit. So I'm not surprised where the scoreline is going. Forest have been a bit more decent since Shonda came in. Their season started in the turbulence.
It's brought some stability, right?
Yeah,
they were
a bit
really
more
vulnerable.
Yeah, they were vulnerable early on in the season. But
former coach.
yeah, I think they are a bit more stable now. But
I mean, that guy Ankasabi, that's how he plays his football. So expect vulnerability at the back every time.
Well, not necessarily. I just think it's the things that were surrounding. I just think it was the things that were surrounding the club too. Like it was, it was a lot of things surrounding the club at that point in time. Forest was just a comedy show, if I'll call it that, at that point in time. That just made working in that environment a bit difficult. I don't want to blame him too much.
Okay.
I think the nature of the job was very different as compared to what he was experiencing at Spurs. It was was a complicated environment. So I didn't think he would thrive in the first place when he was being appointed because of how things had been at the club even before he walked in. So I wasn't too surprised to see things go that way. But I think Sean has come in, giving the team a bit more stability. The more recognizable team now. If you look at them, you can tell what they want to do in 90 minutes when they are playing their football. So I just think that's better. But I don't know, City seems to be getting into that mood. It looks like City are kind of like trying to build some sort of momentum. So they just seem hard to beat. They are not playing at their best, even when I watch them even in recent games, but they just seem to have enough in the tank to get the games over the line. And sometimes at some points in the season, you just need... This is a very, very difficult period in the season. The games are coming thick and fast. There's a festive period which really isn't a festive period anyway. So these are the points in time where even when you are not at your absolute best and you are picking points, it's super important for the team. So I'm sure Pep will be smiling at the scoreline, considering it was a very, very difficult place to go and play football and come away with all 3 points. And they look like they'll come away with the points. So I think he'll be pleased with the performance.
With the performance. All right. Speaking of the performance, I just to add context, right, to your analysis, I have to run through the starting 11, those who started for both teams today. Let me start off with the home team in Forest. They have Victor in post, a back four of Nico Williams, Murillo, Milenkovic, and Savona as the back four. Domain Gerson Anderson, midfield 2. Kellum Hudson-Odoi, Morgan Gibbs-White, Omari Hutchinson, and Igor Jesus. So Hutchinson got the equalizer for Forest, assisted by Jesus. For City rather, Donnarumma started. Matheus Nunes, Ruben Dias, Josko Vardiol, Nico Riley, a midfield 2 of Tiani Reinders, Gonzalez. Sheki is also starting. Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, and Haaland also leading the attack for Manchester City. So it's 92 minutes. So they're doing the extra time. Added time of 5. It looks like City will run away with all 3 points. Let me come to you, Eugene, on Manchester City so far. When the season started, everybody thought that, they were never going to be closer to Arsenal or closer to anybody who was going to top the table. In fact, a lot of people actually thought it would have been Liverpool in Arsenal's position as we speak. But this win takes them closer to Arsenal, who have a game in hand. Just what I thought about what Pep has done in the last couple of match days.
First of all, I think that kudos to him because he endured a difficult spell last season. Things didn't go his way. And for the first time, Pep, who looked invincible, now looked very ordinary in our eyes. And I think since then, I think there was a point in the Premier League where Klopp and Pep, we looked at them very differently from the other managers. We looked at every other manager, his flaws and everything was brought to the forefront. But when it got to Klopp and Pep, especially Pep, we usually just focused on the system. We never really looked at a lot of people, barely criticized him. But for the first time now, his tactics were now scrutinized and a lot of things were brought to perspective. And now we began to look at the individual players in the dressing room and whether they fit the system and a whole lot of things. And I think those things negatively affected him. We also know about his other things in his personal life that affected the whole output of his team last season. Then this season began and it looked like it was the same old story. Then until mid-September, October, then things began to stabilize. And I think so far he's done a really, really good job. It's not been a vintage performance from City in a very, very long time, but they are able to get the job done. For example, in this game against Nottingham Forest had about 3-4 chances to have taken the lead, especially when it was a 1-1. Odoi missed his chance. A few other players missed their chances, gaping chances. City just stuck to their plan, and then they got their goal. And I also think the fact that he has been able to get very good players. And I mean, before we came on air, we were talking about the fact that he's got so many good players that some are struggling for game time. So he's got Sheki, he has got Mamouche, and he's able to get the best out of them. I think the good thing for me is he determines which game is good for Sheki, which game is good for Marmoush, which game is good for Foden, which game is good for other players. And I think
I'm laughing because if Semenyo goes there, he would also get
that guy should be serious. He should be serious. I have been saying this. If I'm an agent, I remember I spoke to an Egyptian journalist when Marmoush was going to City at the beginning of the year, and he was telling me it would be a problem for Marmoush because Marmoush is coming from a place where he was a star man. He played, if Marmoush was fit, 90 minutes every game. Marmoush should not play whether maybe when the game is done or in a game which isn't very crucial for Frankfurt. Then Marmoush wasn't playing. Crucial for club and country. Now he's coming to a team where the manager has so many talents that he needs to rotate the squad. There's already Bernardo Silva, who I don't know what happens, but certain points in the game, he's the first player to go off, whether he's having a good game or not. That should tell you that this manager is a manager who would rotate the squad whether he like it or not. And I have a problem with Pep. He brings the player up. He makes sure the player gets a certain level where he's almost a superstar. And guess who brings him down? The same Pep. He did that to Mahrez and Sterling. So if I'm an agent and I have a player, I'm not sure I'm taking it to Pep. But so far he's been able to get the no, and guess what? The Egyptian was right. Because Marmoush has come to City.
It has played out,
and now he's playing 5 minutes. He's not even getting 15 minutes.
But I think that largely happened after he got injured and he came back and like people had picked up.
That's true though. But if it was at Frankfurt, he walks back into the team.
I mean, it's
he should have gone to a team.
There's different levels too.
No. So, which is fine.
Is
which
that
is very
not
true.
Competition at its highest level at the team?
Exactly, and that's good for Pep.
Okay,
but that's not good for the player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So from Pep's angle, that's good because the 5 minutes he gives Marmoush even gets a goal, and his general output for the team is good. When he gives Sheki 80 minutes, I think the last time I watched Sheki, he gave a Rabona assist. I think in a game against, I'll try to remember the team. Today again, he scored the winning goal, and he was very instrumental as well in a few of their games. So all in all, each player comes to the team and contributes his quota. So from Pep's perspective, that's brilliant. But from the player's perspective is where I have the issues. And I also credit Pep for the fact that he's continued from where the other coaches elevated Tijani Reinders to. When Reinders was coming to the Premier League, I feared for him that he'll be affected by Pep's disease of sometimes overly sticking to his plan to the detriment of the player. Before we came here, I told you about how I think Haaland's game has reduced significantly since he came to the Premier League. Because when I watched him at Dortmund a lot of the time in the Bundesliga, maybe because the teams open up, and so even when Bochum is playing against Dortmund, Bochum believe that he has a good chance of winning the game. So open up. If you are good enough, you beat me. And so a lot of the time, and the tactics that was implemented at the time at Dortmund was all inclusive. So even the Haaland could drop deep, not so deep, but he'll pick the ball in a counter-attacking situation, travel 40-50 meters and get a goal at the goal. But here he comes to the Premier League and he's almost restricted to a box striker. He's only at the finishing end of it. But I think
that's why that conversation came up, that he doesn't get himself involved in.
Exactly.
Well, I just feel this. Some managers really just want to maximize your strengths,
and that's fine. That's fine. Once he's getting the goals, that's fine. But those who love football that's pleasing to the eye will complain about that. But once he's getting the win, that's fine.
And especially those who are used to what he used to do.
Exactly. So I used to watch him at Dortmund a lot. He used to travel with the ball, do a lot of dribbles. Just contribute generally to the play. Even when things are not going well, you see Haaland do a few touches.
There was one game, right? City won. Haaland scored.
But he had less than 10 touches.
When you take out the goal, he scored.
Nothing.
He had fewer touches in the game.
Exactly.
Right? And people have forgotten that he had fewer touches because he did what? The most important, which
scored.
is he scored.
And that's one of the
problems. And then there was another game,
football.
he didn't score. He had fewer touches. Now people are complaining that he's useless.
And
that he's not involved in the game and all of that.
That's one of the problems with Pep. But I think I'm happy with what he has done with Tijani Reinders. He's moved from the, at Milan he was more of holding midfielder with Fofana, and but in City he's more of an advanced player in that, more of the number 10ish, number 8ish player, and I think that's good for him. He gets to have a go at a lot of. That's why we are seeing Renders in a lot more goal scoring opportunities. So for the first time in a long while, I've seen Pep take a player, and he hasn't diminished his quality alongside Shaky as well. But I think that we'll get to a point where Shaky will also start suffering what Mahrez and Co suffered, because I think the last time Shaky did the Rabona cross, I heard Pep complaining about the fact that he should have done that. For crying out loud, the guy did and gave that cross, and it was an assist for Foden. I think, well, maybe I'm not a fan of Pep, so there's nothing that guy does that I really appreciate. But kudos to him. He has got the team back on track, and they look like they have it. I don't want Arsenal to win the league anyway, so I'll be rooting for Pep or any other serious manager in the Premier League to have a go at Arsenal for the Premier League.
Okay, interesting stuff. So that game has ended. City with all 3 points. They beat Forest by 2-1 at the City ground. So City are now top of the table, 40 points.
Good.
Arsenal are second. They are in action later today against Brighton at the Emirates. So Arsenal have 39 points, 17 games played. Let me bring you into that conversation. Is this that moment that City goes on that run that everybody think that they can actually do? They've done it before, and that's it, that old narrative playing again. Arsenal losing the title.
I don't think we'll get to see that vintage Manchester City team. I just don't see it. I think they are now building themselves to get to that level, but they are not there yet.
Yeah.
And maybe after this season, that's when they might be able to get there. Looking at how his contract is structured, next season is going to be
his contract ends next season,
yeah,
right? 2027.
Pep Guardiola's
that's after this season.
After this season, yeah.
Okay.
The next season, once it ends, that's when Pep Guardiola's contract ends. And so, if he is still the manager of Manchester City, then I see them being able to go on that run, that mid-season run that you mentioned. But as things stand presently, with they bringing in new players, with they like Tijani Reinders, Ryan Cherki, Ignori, even Mamouche isn't really settled. Savinho isn't really settled. Likely to bring in Semenyo. So they are now going through that process, and I don't think they'll be able to hit that kind of run of form like they used to do a few years back. So I don't see it happening this season. But what I do see is that they will earn enough points to be able to hang around first, second position. And if there's any slip from Arsenal, then they take advantage. They do just enough to be able to take advantage of that slip, and then end up winning the title. Because look, have they been impressive with their overall performance? No. But
you think there are still some flaws in the
yeah, major flaws. But at the end of the day, have they over the past 2 months dropped out of the top 4? They haven't. Even though they haven't been at their best, but they are still in and around the top 4 spots. And now they are just a point behind, 2 points behind Arsenal. Now they are on top of now they are on top of the league. But Arsenal will play later this evening. So even if Arsenal end up beating Brighton and Hove Albion, they'll still be in second place.
Yeah, does that put pressure on Arteta? Given the results from City today.
They will definitely be under a lot of pressure, irrespective of what Man City do or don't do. He will be under a lot of pressure because, look, it happened for him last season where it broke, that it was there for the taking. Man City weren't performing. Man United all over the place. It was there for the taking, and that's why you saw Liverpool ending up winning the title.
Okay.
Despite the fact that no one expected them to win it, because a new coach has come in, taken over from Jurgen Klopp after 9 years there was the expected transition moments to happen. But at the end of the day, they weren't necessarily at their best, particularly in the second half of the season, the latter part, the final, say, third of the season. By the end of the day, they had done enough to be able to rack up enough points to hold off the competition from everyone else to win the title. And that's Liverpool that I'm referring to. Because at the end of the day, the juggernaut that was Manchester City just didn't turn out. And they were well positioned to take advantage of it. Arsenal were also in that position, but they failed to take advantage of it. Now, you can't have a situation where for the second year in a row, for the second season in a row, it breaks your way and you do not take advantage of it. Particularly when, unlike last season, where there wasn't enough cover for William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes, this time around there's more than enough cover, because you have as many as 6 centre backs, guys who can play that centre back position, as many as 6. Because there's Ben White, there's Calafiori, there's Jurrien Timber, you brought in Hincapi, you brought in you brought in Hincapi, you brought in the guy who used to play for Valencia, Mosquera.
Yeah.
So that's how many? 5. Then you have your regular starters. That's 7. So this time around, you have more than enough cover in case the injuries pop up, and they did pop up, because for a while they've been without the service of Gabriel Magalhaes and William Saliba. So this time around, there's no excuse, and that's where the pressure comes from. I don't think the pressure on Arsenal to win the title, it comes from Man City doing well and winning their games and only ranking 2 points behind them. No, I don't think that pressure comes from that source. I think it comes from within and the club itself. That you need to win the title.
And that
it's
you finished
second for 3 straight years.
For 3 straight seasons.
For 3 straight years, you can't make it the 4th year in a row. And on top of that, it, like I said, it has broken your way. Liverpool are all over the place. They are now recovering a little bit, but you can clearly tell that realistically, you don't see them winning the title. So it's there. It's there for the taking. And Manchester City, it's clear that they are still in transition. It's clear that they are still in transition. They've still not been able to solve the Rodri issue, but they are hanging in there, trying different methods, and so far it's working quite well. And so they are not at their best, but at least they are more than enough in terms of their functionality, what Pep Guardiola has been able to do. So you, Arsenal, you've bettered your team quite well with your players that you bought, and you have more than enough cover in terms of quality in depth. There's stability in the team. The coach is the same. About 75% of the team is intact. There's no excuse. So that's where the pressure is coming from. I don't think it's necessarily coming from the outside, including the play of Manchester City. I think it's eternal. They know that this is it. If they don't win it this season, I don't know when they'll win it.
That's the verdict. Yao has delivered the same one on Manchester City. Adam, let's start with City, right? So, I mean, the news now is that they are now on top of the table. We're waiting for what Arsenal will do against Brighton. But let's talk about Shecky, right? There's this stat I want to read out here. So, it says that since the start of November, only Haaland, who has 8 goals, 3 assists, okay, and Bruno Fernandes, 3 goals, 6 assists, have been involved in more Premier League goals than Shecky. So Shecky has 1 goal, 7 assists. So today's contribution means that he has now 50 goal contributions across Europe's big 5 leagues during his career. So i.e. they've combined what he did at Lyon and what he's doing at City. So 16 goals, 34 assists. This is a player who was one of the best players in the French Ligue 1. And the best player for his club. He's come to City. just what I thought about how he settled in, and if you're okay with what you've seen from him.
Before I start, I just want to say shout out to Florian Wirtz.
Oh.
Before I get into it,
Why do you have to do that?
no, I just a harmless shout, like yeah. But I think he's doing well.
Okay.
There was a lot of talk about whether he will adapt well. You know, the conversations usually surrounding the French league before players come in, but I think it's low key looking like a great hunting ground for top clubs if you are looking for talent.
In the French
league like yeah, I feel like a lot of people felt the Premier League's physicality will do a number on Cherki, but he's coming and he's not. I don't know how to explain it, but there are some footballers who, when they are playing, it's almost like they play to their own tune. I don't know if you get me. Yeah. Like what's really happening in the game?
They don't really,
it's not really. And I get those vibes from him when I see him play. It's almost like he's playing at his own tempo, and it's very difficult to do that in the Premier League because like you barely have time to make a lot of decisions.
Yeah.
So the fact that he can play his game the way he wants to play his game amidst all the chaos that usually ensues in the Premier League is surprising. But I've liked what I've seen so far. I think he's not just being flamboyant or bringing a lot of dazzling plays to the team. He's doing things that, even though they are good on the eye, they are impacting the game positively. And at the end of the day, you want a player of that nature to affect your game numbers wise, score and assisting. So with the contributions he's given the team so far, I think he's adapting well. I want to see it grow from strength to strength, and I would like to see more goals
from him.
More goals, yeah. I think so far assisting the team and helping the team score goals, he's been doing that. But players like him, when they add, like right now, he's approaching 10 assists.
Yeah.
If the figure of goals is around that same number, it makes it a really, really nice combination to have a player that can contribute that much to your team.
Yeah.
In terms of goals and assists, it makes you a very valuable asset to the squad.
All right, let's get the thoughts of Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola. I'm sure he'll be speaking, although ask him a question about Ryan Cherki.
So Igor win all the balls and have a top quality players. This team was a Champions League for 1 or 2 games last season, so it was in European competitions. It's a momentum for the results, but it's a fantastic team, a tough place to come. And a winter time, so we talk a lot about these days, last 2 days with the team. So winter time, Nottingham Forest, or you are ready. If you are not there today, you don't win that game. And with the mistakes we have done or anything, but the mentality was unbelievable. So yeah, really pleased again for the guys.
What did you change in the second half? Because that first half, Forest looked so tough to break down, but you managed to get 2 goals in the second half.
Too much players behind the ball. No, not in the right pockets, in the right when you break inside, outside, and have to have the chance to create chances, and that is what happened, and it's slightly different. The first we have too much players behind. That was a problem.
You pointed to Pep Linders after both of the goals you scored. Had he pointed something out to you? Is there something specific that you were pointing to him for?
He's so good. Pep is so good. He's a top manager. So. Players like sometimes you think he's assistant. No, maybe I am his assistant. He's a top manager. So we talk in the half time, in the last minutes you change a little bit the shape to attack a little bit different, and sometimes when you take a decision immediately works. You are more exposed to transition. That's why we concede the goal. And but yeah, in general, really pleased.
All right, so you had Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola speaking after his side beat Forest by 2 goals to 1. Guys, let's preview the other games real quick, and we'll get to some of that conversation. Now, Arsenal are taking on Brighton. Let me try and fetch the starting 11 for the 2 teams. Arsenal. Okay. Yes. So Arsenal are starting with David Raya in post. It's a 4-3-3. Declan Rice, Saliba, Hincapié, and Calafiori. Mikel Merino, Zubimendi, Martin Odegaard, Bukayo Saka, Victor Gyökeres, and Leandro Trossard. There's something really interesting happening with the Arsenal lineup. I see Rice playing as a right back. I mean, it would look like this on paper. I just want to see what it looks like when the game kicks off. But
Finally, the guy is slaying it.
yeah, you like it?
Yeah, remember before the season started,
Yeah, I've heard you say something.
I
like
wrote
that.
an article that if you play Declan Rice as a wing back, that's the best way to really get this Arsenal team firing.
Oh, I see.
Because consistently, if you line up central defenders across the back four, as Pep, not Pep, as Mikel Arteta has done over the years or in recent years, last season especially, and this season, throughout the season, what you get is that you stifle the width of your team, knowing very well that Bukayo Saka is always drifting inwards.
Okay.
He is drifting inwards. He does not stay on the. He does not hug the touch line.
Yeah.
To stretch out the field, and so he's always moving infield. And once you do that,
that space is left.
That space is gaping. There's a gaping space. There's a gaping hole down that right side. But because you usually have central defenders being played down that side as right fullbacks, the productivity on the offensive side is limited, because Ben White's crosses don't even beat the first man. Either they are short or they are overhit. It's the same with Jurien Timber. But you look at Declan Rice and his ability to cross the ball, especially with Arsenal having Victor Gyökeres in there. Last season, if you weren't crossing the ball, fine, because there wasn't, like a proper big man there. Yes, Mikel Merino was used once in a while because of emergency issues or situations. So if you use that style, that's fine. But now that you've gone out there to spend serious money to get a good goal scorer in Victor Gyökeres, playing that style will render him a little bit more or less useless, or to limit his impact in the game, because it's not always a situation where you have him running behind the defenders. You won't have that situation consistently. You should be able to float the ball in the air and have him battle it out with the opposing team defenders, have him attack the ball aerially to be able to score goals. And once you are playing Jurien Timber and Ben White down that right flank as right fullbacks, you are not going to get the kind of service for Victor Gyökeres in terms of crosses. You are not going to get it, because Bukayo Saka rarely crosses, and even when he crosses, he would have to cross with his right foot, his weaker right foot, and those ones are quite literally flat and are more cutbacks than necessarily crosses into the box to find a target man. They are cutbacks so that the guy who is making that run into the box meets it. And in that situation, you are not being able to maximize the talent of your squad. And so for me, I've always said that, look, play Declan Rice as a wing back, and in this situation, once you're playing him as a right full back with those three central defenders, they'll shift into that three-man back line and push Rice a bit into midfield. And in that situation,
more like he's inverting.
And in that situation, you solved another issue. Because aside providing width and being able to deliver crosses into the box to feed Gyökeres and aid in building his confidence, you're also solving that situation that he had, where how do I play Odegaard and Zubimendi and Rice in the same starting lineup without necessarily hurting the organization of my team or the defensive setup of my team. Once you have Rice in there, you have Zubimendi in there, you have Odegaard in there, you are fine.
And today he's done that and added Merino.
So what that means is that you have that big bodied guy who is physical in that midfield to provide that physicality. Zubimendi, you have him as a deep line playmaker. Then you have Odegaard, who shuffles in between the defense and the attack, and is the one providing the passes in between and spraying the passes all over the pitch. With Declan Rice, he will move a bit into midfield once they have possession. knowing very well that Odegaard will vacate that position and play a bit closer to Gyökeres. And in that sense, you have enough bodies in midfield.
Okay.
If the ball is floated in behind and they will have to defend, you still have the chance to be able to defend, because at the end of the day, when Rice slips back into that defensive mood, then or defensive position, Martin Odegaard will be able to slip into midfield and provide a bit of cover in case there's a cutback. So
Okay.
for me, yeah, I like it. I like what Mikel Arteta has done with the setup.
Well, I want to see how that plays out. To see Mikel, Declan Rice played as the right back for Arsenal today. For Brighton, let me run you through the starting 11 for Brighton. Verbruggen is imposed, a back few of Van Hecke, Dunk, Coppola. They've got midfield four of Kadioglu, Ayari, Hinchell, Wood, and De Kuyper, and the front three of Gomez, Gruda, and Rata. Yeah, so that game kicks off at 3 p.m. There's some other matches that will kick off at 3 p.m. as well in the PL today, match day 18 of the English Premier League. So let me just run you through the games coming up later at 3 p.m. and then we'll touch on the Serie A as well. There are some games also there that will be kicking off at 3 p.m. and some have already started, some will kick off a bit later. So at the GTEC Community Stadium, it's Brentford up against Bournemouth. At the Turf Moor, there's Burnley v Everton. Liverpool take on Wolves. West Ham United up against Fulham. Chelsea will take on Aston Villa for the final game for today. Let's quickly jump to the Italian Serie A. Parma beat Fiorentina earlier today 1-0. Lecce are currently taking on Como. Eugene has very soft spot for Cesc Fabregas. So Como have taken the lead against Lecce. Torino are playing at Cagliari. It's 1-0 in that game. Udine will take on Lazio at 5 p.m. And then a final game for the Italian Serie A later tonight is at 7:45 p.m. It's Pisa taking on Juventus in that game. Let me check out the Sunday game for the Italian Serie A. Right, Sunday. Yeah, some more games on Sunday. At 11:30, AC Milan will take on Verona. Cremonese up against Napoli at 2 p.m. 5 p.m. there's Bologna up against Sassuolo. And then at 7:45, Atalanta will take on Inter Milan. That should be a good game later tonight in the Italian Serie A. So the EPL and the Serie A are still running. They had just 1 day off. That's 25th. Yesterday there was a game in the EPL. Today the EPL is continuing those games. Yeah, so that's it, guys. Just quick word on the Italian Serie A. Let me start off with you, Eugene. I don't know which game you want to touch on though, or you want to do Como?
No, first off, Fiorentina at the beginning of the season, with their buys, we know of Moiskin already.
Yeah.
And then they added Edin Dzeko. So it looked to me like, and then they brought Tariq Lamptey.
Yeah.
Already there's David De Gea. So it looked to me like there was going to be a revolution at in Florence. All of a sudden, things began to spiral out of control. It's not like Fiorentina actually play badly. If you watch Fiorentina's games, they play really well, but at the end of the day, they just do not win games.
Yeah.
They just won their first game of the season last week. So I thought that would be the beginning of some redemption for them, and it looks like they are back to their old ways. Against Parma, they lost. And I think
so they just 9 points.
Yeah.
From 17 games.
You
this
see,
season.
for teams like Pisa and the others, I knew
they were going to go back.
Yeah, they were going to struggle. But for Fiorentina, if anyone told me at the beginning of the season that Fiorentina would struggle, I wouldn't have believed it. And looking at the quality of players and looking at their business in the transfer market, I thought it because they got Edin Dzeko, and we know his exploits in the Serie A with Inter Milan and with the AS Roma in the past. Bringing Tariq Lamptey, it showed that they had attacking mind. They're trying to boost their attacking force, and knowing an ACL injury and he's also off. I think that alone has torpedoed all their plans. And I think the first thing that Fiorentina will need to do is to try and have a resolute defense, try and avoid losing games. I think that's the first way they can avoid defeat.
You think they can get out of the red zone? Because it's just one win in 17 games for them.
The-
9 points in 17 games.
You see, exactly. But I think there's this thing people say statistics are like what?
Bikini.
Yeah.
What they
Like a bikini.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't really read much into it.
Yeah,
No,
because
we'll
what
show
it
you-
reveals
we'll show you
suggests
some things, but
yeah,
we'll show you the-
exactly.
Yeah.
So the stats suggest that they've been poor. But if you watch their games, they are not poor actually.
They're
I've
not
watched
poor, yeah.
about 3-4 of their games. They are not poor. They do very well. They will score, but they end up conceding, and they concede too many goals.
Well, that's true though, because I'm looking
Yeah.
at the numbers now, right?
yeah,
If they're able to go on, let's say, a 4-game winning streak,
that's all.
that would be what, 12 points.
Yeah.
12 plus 9, that would be 21.
Yeah, 21.
Yes, so they jump to 13th on the table. I mean, depending on the other result,
Yeah.
because the next team on top of them is Pisa and Verona.
As for Pisa, they will
Verona
go.
12 points, Pisa 11.
Pisa will go. Verona, I'm not too sure. As for Pisa, they will go. The inexperience in their team is very clear at the moment,
Yeah.
and I don't think they stand any chance. So I think Fiorentina are the big disappointments for me this season. Como as winning away to Lecce, I don't think that's surprising. And I think Como came in the news a few weeks ago with Fabregas and Papi Chow, the Senegalese coach, over Asani Diao's
Yeah.
issue and the whole back and forth. But I think that Como have they've exceeded expectations already from their first season. I think people thought they would be like Pisa and the other teams who come into the league in your first season, you return. But I think the investments they made and their obsession for young talent is what's for me is crucial, because we know if it was Antonio Conte who was giving this team, we know what he would do. He will look at those times. We're going to bring
The old
Rajan
players.
Nangolan,
The veterans.
Antonio Candreva,
Yeah.
bought some really old players,
But
35.
Fabregas are stuck with.
Yeah.
with this
Very,
young
very, very, very
There's a
young
Ghanaian
players.
player there, right? At that-
Yeah. And I think that's good, and no pressure on Fabregas. It's also good for him to experiment and try all he can. And I like his philosophy. I think the most important thing for me was when he said, when his a go up in his let's say 10 minutes to the end of the game, other coaches will take off a striker and bring a defender, and that will invite pressure. He says he would rather, if he can, he will bring more attacking players to try and attack more and then get a win. I think that's fundamentally a market difference from a lot of the managers, because a lot of the managers we know, once they are they've taken a 1-0 lead and it's getting to the
They begin to start dealing with things sensibly and
exactly, and
pragmatically.
we know coaches like Enzo Maresca who do the exact opposite, and they end up losing games they shouldn't lose. So I think from the common perspective, Milan themselves too, at a point, I've never Milan are a team who blew hot and cold. When you believe they should do it, then they struggle. But I think that the thing with the Serie A I've realized is this: when big teams are out of Europe, they tend to do very well. Last season, Napoli were not in Europe, so they focused all their energies on the Serie A and they won. Now they are beginning to struggle because they are in Europe and they are in other competitions. However, I think Napoli were I think the one of the trophies, I think the Coppa Italia or something.
Yeah.
They won the Super Cup.
They won the Supercoppa. I think that's good for them. So I think Milan need to prove a point. They've got good players who on a normal should deliver, but at Milan things are going out of control. I think Massimiliano Allegri, he was brought in to stabilize things, but the stabilization.
Stabilize.
Yeah. I think the stabilizer himself is suffering some electric shocks. You know when you buy a fridge has what they call a stabilizer.
Yeah.
But sometimes it turns out when the doom is too much, the stabilizer itself cannot stabilize the fridge itself. So I think he needs to have that done. Inter themselves are also struggling. Frank Kivu, when he entered, he took on the job. At the beginning, it looked like it was a smooth sail, but if you check their form in Europe and their form against the top teams in Italy, it's not looking good at all. They're facing off against Atalanta. Atalanta themselves are also losing some of their big players to the AFCON. Luckily for them, Kamal Adin is still with them. Otto and his boys refused to go to the AFCON, so Kamal is around. But Odilon Kosunu is one of their key players in the defense. Kosunu is with the Ivory Coast at the AFCON, and also a few of the other players are also not. Lukman as well, also off with Nigeria. So two key players are missing from the team, and so I think it's a crucial game. Atalanta themselves, I've watched a few of their games. Not too impressive. In games they even end up winning, they do not perform really, really well. And so I think this game is very open. It's a game where I will go against the odds and I'll predict a win for Inter against Atalanta, who are playing at home. Then Roma also taking on Genoa. Roma themselves, I think one of the things they pride themselves with is having a very solid defense. They also lost a key player in defense. Evan Ndika is left Roma to the Ivorian squad, and I think it affected them in their last game. And I think this is where I anticipate that things can go out of control for AS Roma. But I think that against Genoa, without Odilon without Evan Ndika, they should have what it takes to get the job done. Cremonese, Napoli also surprising. Sometimes their away form has been very surprising, but I believe against Cremonese they should have what it takes to get that all important win. Bologna also have been very impressive. They take on Sassuolo, and I believe that Bologna under Vincenzo Italiano have been impressive. They are still in the top within the top teams in Italy, even though they are not traditionally one of the big teams. They sold a lot of players we know away, but they are still performing really well. And so I think that Bologna against Sassuolo, Bologna has what it takes to win. Yeah, Juventus. I don't know what the problem is. They've changed so many managers, but still very inconsistent. They're facing off against Pisa, and we know how some of these away games they end up taking shape in the Serie A. And Juventus have had a very topsy-turvy moment in the Serie A, but luckily for them, they've won their last two games in the league, and so I think they look very much likely to win that game.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what to expect in the Italian Serie. All right, you're still listening, watching the Republic of Football, 97.3 live on YouTube, City Sports GHA, live on Channel 1 TV. Let me take some messages. We'll go for a quick break and then we'll come back and talk about the 2025 AFCON happening all the way in Morocco. Let me start off with Kwame357 says, come on Brighton, Nyame. I don't think Rice is good at crossing the ball in open play. Okay, Wilfred Richstar 4532. He says Arsenal are not playing beautiful football. What do you expect? Okay, and then he comes back to say, so that's Kwame 357 says Rice is good at crossing the ball when there is a corner or free kick. Okay, Asante Kill 9V. He says, look, for the fact that Pepe and Man City wanted Viet as their first choice attacking midfielder, I wouldn't listen to any unnecessary comparison. If Viet has City, they would have been way top. I think Adam, you brought up that conversation.
No, I just shouted Viet out before I started my submission. I don't know, but then I don't think that's like it's a fact that they were looking for Viet. I think it was a rumor. I don't think anyone knows for sure that he was on their list.
Yeah.
But it was just a harmless shout. If you are taking that to heart, then maybe
you triggered something. That's why you had to put that. Okay. Rangers wasn't brought to City to score goals alone, but to help the attacking midfielders. Okay, so I think that's why the assist speaks for him.
Yeah.
When you look at his assists, he has 7 assists, 1 goal for Manchester City this season. Okay, let me take some more messages. Coftown Babe says, Nayao Adeng, you're talking like Arsenal has no problems. Hey, everybody gets grace, but Arsenal, dear, no. We hear you. He said, yeah, myself, I'm trying to. He says you were talking like Arsenal have no problems. Maybe if you can come back again with your message. Okay. Let's go for a quick break, right? Let's go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll switch the conversation. We'll talk some AFCON, some really good games coming up. Some starting at 3, some at 5, and some at 8 p.m. I'm Gabi Affair. We'll be back after this. Morocco, but without the Black Stars of Ghana. I just had to do that. My bad. Yeah, we'll switch the conversation. We'll take you into Morocco. 4 games today. Benin beat Botswana early on today at 3 p.m. Senegal are currently taking on DR Congo in that tournament. Uganda will take on Tanzania later at 5:30 p.m. Nigeria will take on Tunisia at 8 p.m. I want Nigeria, my team, to win the AFCON. I don't care what you say. The Super Eagles of Nigeria. Hey. Rickshaw and his people. Yeah, so today is a mix of the Republic of Football and the 2025 AFCON. I'm Gabi of in studio with Yahweh J. Minta, Eugene Soti, and Kelvin Edem Kai. Let's get into the AFCON talk, guys. Let me just quickly get to the Senegal DR Congo lineup and then get into the conversation. Charlie, I envy the Senegalese, bro.
You're looking at the squad.
Team.
You're looking at the squad.
Charlie. Okay, so Mendy starting for Senegal today. He's the goalkeeper. There's Diatta playing as the right back. Koulibaly partnering Nyankate as the centre backs, and then Jacobs as the left back. Papi Gay with his other gay brother. That's Idris Agana Gay.
Midfield.
And I mean, not like what you're trying to think. I mean, so okay, let me put it that way. So Papi Gay and Idris Agana Gay. Okay. in that midfield too. There's Sadio Mane, Ndiaye, and then Sarr, and then Nicolas Jackson leading attack for Senegal. For DR Congo, there's Mpasi in Zau, Wan Bissaka, and Bemba, Twanzebe, Masaku, and Mutsami in midfield. A midfield 4 of Elea, Noah Sadiki, Mukua, Bongoda, and Cedric Bakambu leading the attack for DR Congo in that game. Guys, just quick thoughts on that game, and then we get to the other games happening later today.
Well, I think first off, it's one of the thrillers of match day 2 of the AFCON. One of the games I was looking forward to. Yesterday, I 2 of those games I came through. I think that was Egypt, South Africa, and then Mali, Morocco. For this match day 2 fixtures, for today's games, this one and the Nigeria-Tunisia ones are the ones to look out for. I think both teams met in the group stage, the World Cup qualifier group stages, and I think in both games, DR Congo failed to win. Remember that famous one where DR Congo took a 2-0 lead at the stadium, the Stade des Martyrs in Kinshasa, and then Senegal did a 3-2 comeback. Remember that led to the fans vandalizing their
that was in the World Cup qualifiers.
The World Cup qualifiers, yeah. And for me, it's a big game, crucial, because both teams have already won their first game. Senegal beating Botswana 3-0, and DR Congo beating Benin, I think, by a goal to 0. And I had the privilege of watching the DR Congo team, I think in October, I think, when they took on Togo. I think that was and one thing I respect about DR Congo is the fact that no matter the opponent, they respect the opponent first off.
Yeah.
And they are defensively solid and tactically well organized before they attempt to score a goal. So even against Togo, they went to the fullback 4, tried and defended, and then hope for a counter, which they got. I think my only problem with Sebastien Desabre is the way he sets up his team. Usually for his attacking force, and I think maybe it's because Yuan Wissa is out injured. Mm-hmm. Because I think with Wissa out injured, now he has his attacking lineup is quite restricted, because he has 2 strikers, Bakambu and then Fiston Mayele, and then he has Meshak Elia. But because of, if Wissa was there, maybe he could have gone to 4-3-3, put Wissa on the wings, maybe Bakambu on the wings and Mayele up top. But because Wissa is not around, it makes him very much restricted. So now he has to always go with Bakambu to start the game, and then after 60 minutes, he takes off Bakambu and brings on Mayele. Mm-hmm. Which I think in certain games like this, remember that
Arsenal take the lead.
Well, yeah, Arsenal have taken the lead against.
I think DR Congo have also scored, because
Well.
It's blinking over here
Well,
for DR Congo. So
yeah.
let's see if that goal comes up for DR Congo. But Arsenal have also taken the lead in the PO against Brighton. Eugene, you continue with your submission.
Yeah, so because Wisa is not around, it makes it a like for like. So Bakambu starts, and then he's taking off Maele. Then, well, brilliant goal from Mutusami, and one of the most. The referee says it's an offside. He whistles for an offside. And
so it's shown here. It's been chopped up.
Yeah, it's been chopped up. And I think for me, the most brilliant thing about a team like DR Congo is that they are underrated, and I think that's good enough for them. If you check their team, they've got very, 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 very good players, and I think the key asset for them is their defensive solidity, because I think their last 6 games they've kept about 5 clean sheets. For them, their back line is now established. Tuazebe and Bisaka have become key figures, with Maswaku and Chancel Mbemba being the other figures.
All with Premier League experience.
Yeah. All of them have a Premier League experience.
Chancel Mbemba was
with Newcastle. And we know of Twanzebe and Bisaka with had their time at United and other places. And for me, I think I like the fact that Bisaka's game has grown beyond his defensive solidity, now attacking, because when I saw him play physically, I realized that maybe sometimes the TV doesn't do justice to a lot of the movements of the players sometimes. I think he's adjusting to the African game. I spoke to Zabra and he was like, the African game is very, very different from the European game. European game is more technical and tactical. African game is more physical. And even though Bisaka is physical, the African game is teaching him a thing or two. But I think what he's been able to compensate with that is, his 1v1s, that one, I think is unplayable on his day. So he's able to compensate for that, and he's helping the team very well. And I like the addition of Noah Sadiki. I think DR is one of those countries that we need to learn from them. I think in their team, more than half of the players were not born in Congo. I think just about 5 of their players were. I think in Bemba, Meshak Elia, I think Mayele are in the starting 11. They are the 3 who were born there. They've been able to sort of assimilate these foreign-born players into the team, and they are playing really well. And I think apart from their defense, their midfield is also very, very, very good, energetic players. You saw Mutusami there. He is their lone pivot in the team.
He's gone with that formation for a very long time now.
Usually, sometimes
it's always that chap.
Sometimes he also goes to the 4-4-2 and plays Elia and Bakambu. Usually that's when he's going away. He's not too sure about the opponents and tactics. And I like the play of Noah Sadiki. He's with Sunderland in the Premier League, and I think, in terms of this distance covered, I think in Sunderland, I think apart from Shaka, I think he's the next player. He covers a lot of ground, good tackler, good dribbler.
I think Sunderland are really going to miss it.
Yeah. And they're also missing Habib Diarra, who's with the Senegal national team, and Atu Maswaku is also their first choice left back. And I think Sunderland is also missing.
Sunderland.
And they are missing Renedo Mandrava, who's in Mozambique.
They are probably the team that the AFCON is heading the most.
That's 8 players.
I think
8 African
only
players.
Adingra is not going to the AFCON. Exactly. I think the rest of their players are off. So I think DR Congo stand a very, very, very good chance of making it. I think so far Maele has disappointed. He's the Carpenter Club player of the year, but since I started watching his games, he hasn't really proved. Bakambu is rather the one who is doing a lot of the job, and I think the chance that DR Congo stand in this game is when they try to pounce on a counter-attacking situation, and we saw that with Bisaka's when he burst up forward. But I think that's also where, if they don't take care, they could get it wrong, because Bisaka is no longer now your typical defensive fullback. He's now attacking. We know Maswaku already from his time at West Ham is a player who loves to attack and join the attack. So what that means is that when they go, remember they also have just a lone pivot in Mutusami. So when they are caught on a break,
2 vacant spaces,
they are already, and just 2 centre backs and Mutusami. And I think that could be problematic for them. But it's a game where I think Desabri his experience has been in this job for quite a while. He was with Uganda, I think, in 2019. He knows the African terrain very, very well. And I like the fact that he's one of those pragmatic coaches. He first of all tries to settle the grounds, know the terrain, how the opponent will approach the game before he would unleash his. I would have loved to have seen Musa this AFCON and seen how he would have attacked the game, but I think hopefully DR Congo. This game it gives me a draw vibe, or I think DR Congo have a slight edge over Senegal, who look like favorites. I think your intro spoke about pressure.
Yeah.
I just think is now that the various, I think is a pressure from Europe. We are now realizing that these players feature for the top class. But I think if you look at the last AFCON, it's this same set of players. I think it's just few players who have made an addition. I think this player Abdou Diallo, who was with PSG, is now in Qatar. He's no longer in the list. But if you check the general outlook of the team, there's only a few of the French players who are not in the team. But the general machine of the Senegalese team have all made it to the AFCON. So I think it's just the fact that we all of a sudden it has dawned on people that the Jacksons and the whoever we see in the various leagues are even are featuring for their club.
Yeah.
And guess what's surprising for me? Pape Thea has decided to go with an unconventional midfield. Pape Gueye and Idrissa Gana
Yeah.
Gueye. Even though they are doing well. Remember, Pape
One
Matassa
left-footed, one right-footed.
Pape Matassa is doing very well with Spurs.
Yeah.
Even though Thomas Frank in his stubbornness has decided to bench him a lot of the time. Lamine Camara is still doing very well at his club side. So people would have thought
I like Lamine Camara
Yeah,
a lot.
people would have thought
I like
Oh, goes
Lamine
with
Camara
those
a
two.
lot.
so yeah, people
He goes with Kamara
fancied Camara
and Sarr.
and Sarr because of the European thing and the fact that they're doing very well. But I think he's gone with an unconventional one. Pape Gueye is also doing very well for Villarreal. He is being in that deep line playmaking role for Villarreal. But guess what? He's scoring a lot of goals for Villarreal in the La Liga. So I think the Senegalese team are sport for choice in terms of subs, and I think that's the only thing they edge
DR Congo.
DR Congo over. Yeah, I think basically that's it. Experience of the players and then their bench. But apart from that, I think basically I think DR Congo can match Senegal boot for boot in the game.
Adam, let me come to you. Eugene has broken down all the pieces of
Yeah, quite extensively.
I just want you to continue from where he finished off on the Senegal bet, right? 2021 AFCON champions. Aliou Cissé leaves, Pape Thiaw comes in. You've not really seen. I have not really seen much changes from what Aliou Cissé was doing with what Pape Thiaw is also doing. He stuck with, I think, almost like what Cissé was doing with the team. Introduced a few players. He was with Kamara at under 17. You know, he was the under 17 coach.
Yeah.
He's promoted him to the senior team. What do you think would be that stage for this manager and this crop of players at the AFCON?
I think what's happening at Senegal is because there's planning and there's continuity. I also believe largely in the saying when they say when it's not broke, you don't fix it. So he's come in, the wheel wasn't broken. There's not much that you need to tweak with the Senegalese national team. These are top professionals playing at the very, very top of football in Europe. Most of them are starters at their clubs. They aren't slouch players they have in their squad. They barely need to be told a lot of things. Most of them understand how tactics go. They know how to translate what they know there to the African game here, because a number of them too started playing here on the continent.
Boy.
So
Jackson just missed us.
You've gotten him again. The first game he did worse than this.
You know this type of play of his. I've seen it like
So many times.
he always wants to use that left foot.
he has 2 goals.
And you know what surprises me? When he does that, you know what he will do? He will buy the jersey as if he was about to do something.
Look at this
You
one.
buy the
Look
jersey,
at
I'm
this.
there. That's accurate.
Or maybe I'm being harsh on him. Okay,
No,
so there was
but-
a player who was that's
Oh no, but he
Senegal,
should
right?
be.
No.
But he should be
It's
scoring that.
unpardonable.
He should
Where
be
the
sc-
ball went. If he hit the player, then
Yeah.
you know he was on target.
Yeah, he should be scoring that. He should be scoring that.
Oh.
I understand.
He
when
has 2 goals, like he said.
he has 2 goals. He has 2 goals. And I just feel like when you come into a job and there isn't much that you need to change, there isn't much you should change. Like you just complicate things for yourself when you go about
Like
trying
what
to make.
Slots is doing with Liverpool.
I shouted at Florian Wirtz and it became a problem. I'm not going to do so with this. I'm making my points void of any of those subs. So yeah, there's not much to change because the wheel was working before you came in. They won an AFCON. They had a good performance in the next one. They weren't too bad. They are not too bad. They are not in a bad place. You don't need to make wholesale changes when things have been going on for a steady way. So he's come in, done the little tweaks he needs to do, come here, and with the kind of quality they have within their ranks, games like this, like Eugene said, will be tight.
Yeah.
Like I think Congo have a super quality team with how they've built the team across the years. It's been a slow thing. Congo haven't gotten to this point overnight. They've year on after year on assembled players from the diaspora. We spoke about it on Diaspora one evening where coach was speaking about how they chased a couple of players for a long time before the players finally came into their ranks. So they are playing a team that can match them, but I think when it gets to where it really becomes difficult, Senegal have the little magic spark within their ranks that can win them games. They have players who can come up with those moments of brilliance as compared to, if I'm doing comparative analysis, I'm comparing that to DR Congo. I think Senegal have more within their ranks that can tilt the game in their favor.
Sadio Mane,
the Manes, the Jacksons, even though he's being criticized for some of his misses, when the need comes, they can get something out of their locket. So I think it will be a tight game, but in the end, if it comes to a moment of brilliance, I'll count on the Senegalese team to come up with that more than the Congolese team. That's just how I'll summarize it.
I don't know why I feel like this game gives me the vibe we saw from the Morocco Mali game.
Yeah. And it just gives you like heading towards a draw.
1-0 draw.
Yeah. And yesterday,
let's draw something like that.
I was so happy with the Malian team. They really did justice to what I always believe. Morocco are never favorites anywhere. Morocco. No, see, Morocco will go past this group and they'll meet Algeria or Egypt,
and they kick them out.
And that's the end.
I think a lot. I've met some people who have the same sentiment.
Morocco are never favorites in African
Morocco
football.
are favorites
They are
by
hosts.
the merits, by the fact
Yeah.
that they are hosts.
I think the problem in Africa is, you see, if the next AFCON will be hosted by Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, nobody would favor any of those
Any of
teams.
the host nations.
But when you look like you have a decent
I mean,
team,
if the Chan is anything to go by, they all got out of the group stage. No, I think Uganda and Kenya moved to the next stage.
yeah,
And then Tanzania got kicked out in the
You see,
stage.
I think that's the only thing. And then the fact that they did very well at the last World Cup, then there's expectation from the people. And I think that I understand.
But there's really expectation.
I think there's expectation from the Moroccan people, but I don't think the whole of Africa expects Morocco to win. This
No, I
World
think you make a great point about the World Cup. The World Cup, if you go back some years back when Ghana performed that well at the World Cup during the quarterfinal phase, heading into the next AFCON,
then there's expectation.
There's expectation
because
because if you go to the global stage and you put up such a performance, when you take it a step down to the continent, it should translate to you being able to dominate.
But
people.
it doesn't usually.
African
work
football
like
doesn't work like that.
And
so,
I think
like,
for the Moroccan people, remember earlier in the year there was some protest. I think just a few months ago, for the fact that the government has invested a lot in
into
the sport,
football,
and then to
They-
the detriment
they-
of the
so the
other
sto-
sectors.
the story was
especially
that
their health sector.
their
if I'm
health
not
system
mistaken.
had
So imagine you don't win the AFCON. So it's like we invested all this money,
Charlie,
and you don't get anywhere.
Is it some country, Charlie?
Is
some
it
country
the
they
thing?
invest in football where they complain so much.
And
Yeah,
here I struggle to see where exactly.
Such irony. Yeah, let me bring you into the conversation. Let's move away from this game right in Tangier. Let's jump on to the Nigeria-Tunisia game. The Nigeria-Tunisia game. You and I were watching the Tunisia-Uganda game, and we were surprised by that scoreline Tunisia put up against Ghana. They beat Ghana by 3 goals to 0. Nigeria, on the other hand, also won their game. They won 2-1 against Tanzania. Just what are you expecting from the Nigerians today against a side that are very confident?
Oh wow! What do I expect from Nigeria? Well, I expect them to play a bit better than they did against Tanzania. I mean, once you've had that feel of the tournament and it led to a win, you definitely get your nerves a bit calmed in the second game, because the anxiety and the pressure to win your first game of the tournament, it is out of the way, and now you are a bit more relaxed, knowing very well that if you're able to get a win in one of your next 2 games, you qualify. Even if you manage to get a draw with the whole qualification based on the best third place teams, your chances of qualifying with 4 points tally or 4 points haul are quite high. So there's a bit less pressure, unless you are in a situation as Zambia, where yesterday, for instance, after they drew their game against Comoros, you could tell that the players were disappointed, and some even had their hands in their head, their head in their hands, because they knew that their next game is against Morocco. Their next game is against Morocco, and Morocco are the host nation, and they also backed a draw, and so they know that okay, just to be safe, we need to go out there and win it. And so in that sense, yeah, they are likely going to play their best team. If it was a situation where Morocco had already qualified, let's say before playing Zambia, then they could end up resting some players, maybe try playing Hakimi in the tournament for the first time to just get him a bit of game time. But here is a situation where they are yet to qualify officially, and so they are likely to put up a very strong squad in that particular game. And so looking at the Nigeria-Tunisia game, there's a bit of recent history with the 2021 AFCON, where under Osteguavon, Nigeria were just brilliant. Yeah. The group stage, the games that they played, the way they played those games, it was just brilliant. And then they got to the round of 16. Everyone expected Nigeria to beat Tunisia because Tunisia weren't good. Yeah. They just weren't good. And then all of a sudden, Tunisia ended up beating Nigeria by 1-0. And that thing, it had Nigeria till date. It still hurts them. Yeah. And so, even ahead of the game, Wilfred Ndidi spoke about it. And so, yeah, they are going to be very motivated for this game. I just hope and pray that they don't let the intensity get a bit to them.
The occasion get to them
because
overly concentrated on
eager, because you look at their game against Tanzania, there was so many arguments on the pitch, and there's one thing that has really hurt this Nigerian team. Like they look to be okay, but there seems to be that bit of fractures here and there among the team where they are just not together enough to be able to translate all that quality that they have and be able to win it all. There's just something right there that you just feel that it is off, and it prevents them from even being among my favorites. That's why when we were picking our favorites for the tournament, I didn't pick them, because I just see that there's a bit of segmentation way too much in the team, and I don't think that's good enough. Against Tunisia, Tunisia, I wasn't surprised they ended up beating Uganda by 3-0. Yeah, I mean the quality that they have is a bit on the high side than Uganda. But when you're playing against a team like Tunisia, they'll definitely play with a very defensive-minded mindset, and they'll look to take advantage of slippages at the back, particularly from the central defensive pairing, Semi Ajayi and Calvin Bassey. Yeah. They tend to be a bit more mistake prone, and those guys in they are likely to take advantage of it. And so if they can avoid those mistakes, Nigeria can beat. I see Nigeria beating Tunisia, but looking at the way they go about their business, likely to get caught out on the counter attack, likely to self-implode. And the fact that they easily get frustrated, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up drawing this game. Tunisia take advantage of those instances or situations or issues that I pointed out, and just get them to the point where they just get frustrated. They just move away from the game plan, and they give the advantage to Tunisia, and they end up drawing this game. So I wouldn't be surprised we end up seeing another draw in this game, just as we've seen with the lead so far.
Okay. And the final game for today, to talk about previewing the games, Uganda taking on Tanzania.
And just a quick one on the picks, the selection picks that Papitia made for Senegal.
The game today.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Picking,
especially in weight department.
Picking in the midfield, the double pivot midfield. Pape Gueye ahead of
Kamara.
Papisa
Okay.
and Lamine Camara.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you have Idrissa Gana Gueye in there. Lamine Camara, if you check his record, his level of discipline is quite poor. He gets a lot of yellow cards and red cards in there, and we all know the reputation of Idrissa Gana Gueye. And so if you play those two together, I think
That's chaos.
you might be inviting trouble in terms of running the risk of getting one of those guys sent off, and it messes up your game plan.
So it was a smart decision from
so once you have Papi Gueye in there and Idrissa Gana Gueye, I think it's just fine enough. With Papi Gueye, he spreads out the passes and is a bit more calm in possession, out of possession, and in his tackles. Whereas Gana Gueye, he brings you that old school throwback, defensive midfield type of game. You need that balance. But you know how a big fan I am of Lamine Camara. But look, his level of discipline is a bit worrying, and it's one of the areas that he needs to work on when it comes to his game. He's quite rash with his tackles and with some of his decision making when he's put under pressure. And so in that sense, I'm okay with what the Senegal head coach Papi Thiaw did with his selection.
All right. Eugene, you want to touch on the Uganda Tanzania? Just quick one, so that I
but
the other games.
just quickly, I just think fundamentally where Papi Thiaw and Aliou Cisse differ is, I think Cisse used to go to 4-3-3, and then Papi goes
Thiaw.
to 4.
4-2-1-3.
4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
So I think that's
4-2-3-1.
Yeah, so that's how come
you have Ismail
so
Assar,
Jackson,
Sadio Mane, and Iliman Ndiaye playing behind Nicolas Jackson.
So I think fundamentally, I think that's where the problem is, and that's how come there's a reduction in the number of midfielders. Usually, we would have seen just 3 players up forward. And I think for Senegal, what they are trying to do is now to introduce a lot of attacking players and try to push more for the goal. So I think maybe that's why a lot of these big name players are on the bench. But usually of African football is normal. Once you have too many good players, it will happen. For example, West Ham's first choice left back, Hadji Diouf, was on the bench. He's been benched by Galatasaray's Ismail Jacobs, which is also a big one. So I think I get your point, but I think it's just tactical reading of the game and how they both see it. I think maybe when they get to a point where they want to reduce their firepower attacking wise and then stabilize the midfield, I think maybe Jackson would be off, and then it will create a space for one more midfielder, because I think at the point Pape Thiaw realized that Jackson's first 2 goals in the AFCON were just because of how poor the opponent was. But I'm sure later on, I'm sure he would realize that and then maybe stabilize the midfield by taking him off.
Jackson, are you hearing?
Making it a front 3 and then adding one more number in the midfield.
Prove them wrong.
But Uganda, Tanzania.
Yeah, who's winning that?
I didn't watch the Uganda
The
Tunisia.
host
I think so
nations
far
for
that's the only
next
game I've not
You've not
watched.
watched.
Uganda and Tunisia match I didn't watch. But I think Tanzania, they gave a good account of themselves
Against Nigeria.
in their first game. I think for the fact that Nigeria took the lead and then they equalized, and I think they were superb. I think apart from that moment, they've justified. I think 2 teams haven't justified their inclusion at the AFCON. I think that's Botswana and I think Zambia. And it's surprising if you watch.
I completely agree with.
And
you
if you
with
watch how Zambia
surprised
qualified,
me.
one reason why Avram was sacked or he left was because of how the World Cup qualifiers
went.
It was Avram had raised expectation with the AFCON qualifiers so much that they believed that in the World Cup qualifiers
you do same.
exactly, and then things didn't go according to plan. So Zambia doing very well in the qualifiers, and they come here and all of a sudden against Comoros scored, and then it was due to the foul in the build-up. Otherwise, it was a brilliant So I think the Tanzania have really given a good account of themselves in this game.
I think they can beat Uganda and
I understand where it's coming. If I'm going to compare their performances, how Uganda played against Tunisia in comparison to how Tanzania played against Nigeria. Tanzania probably look like the better team.
Exactly.
So they look like the team that can do something if they are facing a team.
But African football is also very unpredictable. So, but I would go for a 1-0 draw in that game. And I think match day 2, they give me so many tasty fixtures. I think
different vibes.
and I think tomorrow to Cameroon will face off with the Ivory Coast.
I'll go
Sweet
through
one.
those
You know
games.
that the thing about it is that it's almost like set up for the second day fixtures, like match day 2 across all groups. Match day 1 kind of set up all those fixtures to be.
There's always that big fixture.
But I would have loved to have had the Mali. I think when I spoke to Tom Sava, he also said that he would have loved the Mali Morocco game to have opened the AFCON. I think the Mali Comoros
to be the first game.
Yeah, you know that it would have.
But at the same time, I liked it for a second game.
Second,
If it was
that's
the first
good
game, they will both be too cautious.
That's good too.
Right. Now, let me just update you on the games coming up later tomorrow, and then we'll get back to the European football. We have about 10 minutes to wrap up. Gabon will take on Mozambique later tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Equatorial Guinea up against Sudan at 3 p.m. Algeria will take on Burkina Faso. And then the final game for tomorrow is Ivory Coast, the defending champions, taking on Cameroon. Charlie, that should be a cracker. Let's just preview. Get into the numbers of those games real quick. Ed, let me start off with you. Ivory Coast taking on Cameroon. Who's winning that game?
Hey,
solid.
Defending champions versus what? 2019 champions?
No, 2017.
17 champions. 19 was Algeria.
I'll go for a score and draw. I think it's. I think it's just one of those fixtures that, like, both of them haven't been too convincing at the tournament. I don't think they've played like blinder games. I think they've been just good enough for their first game. So I want to see how they look against each other, to see if maybe that will bring out the real performances we'll see.
I hear Itai Young, the guy who scored for Cameroon, is on your radar.
You're a Barca fan?
Yeah, I'm a Barca fan.
I did assist to you a few months ago.
Solid. Not just because I watched him at the AFCON, but at his club side.
Yeah, he's
that player that gives you that threat, like in the box.
He was actually at Villarreal.
Yeah.
But the way things go, he realized quickly that it won't happen for him. So I think he's not Levante. Good player. So I think the thing with Cameroon is this: when they realized that Bakar was towards the twilight, then they began the search for who would replace him. Yeah. So it was Carlita Young. There's one guy called Frank Magri. I think he plays for Toulouse, I think. Yeah. So those two were the ones who were brought in to sort of find a way for him. So far, Frank Magri is like Iñaki. He performs very well at club side, but when it comes to the national team, so you always use his club side to form to invite you to the national team. But when you watch him, you will not like to field him in the second game. Yeah. But I think in the first game against Gabon, he really gave a good account of himself. And I think maybe in this game, David Pagu should try and go with a 4-4-2 and just go with the two of them and see what will happen.
I see what he's talking about.
Okay. That's why I thought Congo should have done. Go with your two strikers and just see what will happen. Yes. What's the worst that can happen? You already have 3 points. Yeah. And so you could fancy your way out of qualifying from there. Remember, most of these teams will qualify. Once you have 3 points, you are more than likely to qualify. And I like the way there's been a war of words already. David Pagu already after the game says his players shouldn't respect the Ivorians enough, and then I think it's gotten to a mess fire as well. He says, okay, we also not respect them. So already
the mind games
have started working. And
I think the teams that are within this sub-region, when usually there's a meeting of this nature, it gets a bit competitive.
And the coaches do the talking already, and then the players have to justify their coaches' talk. And I think David Pagu himself, he's under pressure, but he would have to justify his inclusion. I see him to be like a puppet of Samuel Eto'o, because even after he won the first game, he was like, Je vais remercier le président de la FECAFO. You've won a game, you are thanking FECAFO president for doing what?
See, the conversations around Cameroon.
It's an interesting country.
I think we can do a whole show.
Okay. But honestly, I think Ivory Coast come into this tournament as favorites. But on the basis of the fact that they won the past AFCON. But if I look at it realistically, I don't think they will go past the quarterfinals. Oh wow! Particularly because 2 key players for them winning the AFCON. I think let's say 4 or 5 players. Max Grada was very key. Serge Aurier was very key. Adingra in the latter part, crucial games against Mali.
I think the quarterfinals going.
And even in the final, the goal Halle scored, I think it was an assist from Adingra. Now there was this guy called Singo. I think he plays for Galatasaray, if I'm not wrong.
He's also not
he wasn't like the player you would see. He wasn't very flamboyant, but he was very key. And they brought in a lot of new players like Gela Doué and co. And I think it will take a lot of time for them to.
Is Nicolas Pepe at this AFCON?
No, so Pepe also had an issue. Pepe granted an interview to a YouTuber and said two things. First off, he said Morocco are not a good team, and that was a fact. But I think the manner with which he said it, I think he was too comfortable with the YouTuber that if it was a normal TV interview, he would have been very careful.
Yeah, but
I think
if he might,
said too many things.
He said things.
And the second one he said was where the problem lies. He said Lafont is an Ivorian, and is it a fact? 50% of the issue is right, but the way he said it is an issue. So it's just like the way we are trying to introduce Odoe and co.
Yeah.
Lafont's mom is part Burkinabe, partly Malian, and partly Ivorian. And it's a problem. You realize that you see Sangare in Burkina, and there's a Sangare in Ivory Coast, there's a Sangare in Guinea.
Yeah.
So there's a common ground. There are certain tribes who run across. You see, like there are Ewes in Ghana, Ewes in Togo.
Yeah.
So even it's quite political that even some people even see Ouattara as partly, he's not Ivorian. So when you say something like that, and truly, Lafont was quoted first by the Burkinabes. There's even a picture of him holding the Burkinabe jersey. But I think he evaluated his choice and realized that he stands the better choice with the Ivorian. So he ditched the Burkinabes and came here. So Pepe is actually in a way right. But he said too many things in the interview, and I think that's the only reason he's not at the AFCON. So too many key figures in the. For example, at the last AFCON, I think Senegal looked like they were winning the AFCON, and then Ivory Coast, because we're a host nation, had the fans and sometimes the referee on their side.
And
they managed
the coach too.
Yeah, they managed to beat Senegal. Otherwise, I don't think Senegal have Ivory Coast have been favorites in any tournament in the last 4 or 5 years, and so I think they are good enough. But even on the basis of their performance in this tournament, Cameroon, who look with all their chaos, looked like they played a better game against Gabon.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Yeah.
Ivory Coast played against.
I wasn't expecting Cameroon to look as good as they in comparison to the Ivory Coast, with all the problems that happen in their backroom staff, the political situation at their FA and all of that. I think Cameroon look much better than the team that have chaos within them as compared to Ivory Coast, who are kind of settled coming into the tournament. So I completely agree with that point.
All right, Algeria, Burkina Faso, who is winning that game?
Well, that's a tough game.
Good.
Burkina Faso.
Algeria won the first game, right?
Yeah.
And that's their first game they've won at the AFCON since.
Yeah,
they won.
They won the title.
So Ghana and Algeria had the same
track record.
Burkina Faso, had to struggle, come back late in the game against Equatorial Guinea and get that win. We'll be here tomorrow to really dive into it. But off the top of my head, if I have to pick, I'll go with Algeria. Algeria. Yeah, I think I'll go with Algeria because the Burkina Faso game against Equatorial Guinea has some quite decent opportunities, decent openings, and the quality just wasn't there for them to be able to take advantage of it. And I look at this Algerian team. I think they do have enough quality. I don't think they have that kind of quality that will make them favorites or take them all the way to the final or even win it. But they do have quality to be able to get past this stage and definitely get a win over Burkina Faso. Okay. So I see them getting a hard-fought win over Burkina.
Okay, the last two games, Adam and Eugene, Equatorial Guinea, Sudan.
Hey, the way they loaded Sudan the last time.
He has to respond.
No,
because they're grooving 3-0.
I think in this game, I do see them beating Equatorial Guinea. Yeah, I do see them beating Equatorial Guinea because of the quality that they faced in the opening game against Algeria. Yeah. It was just way ahead, way beyond them in terms of the quality gap.
The scripts that is playing out so far in the AFCON, if you notice, most of the in quotes big teams played against the smaller teams in the first games. Then the second round usually have teams of equal level playing against each other.
Category A teams are facing the Bs. Now the Bs are meeting the Bs.
When you see the Bs meeting the Bs, they usually either end in a slight slender win for the slightly
I think that's what we saw with the Benin Botswana.
The slightly strong team or a draw game. That's what has been playing out.
I'll go with a Sudan win because I look at the build up to their campaign in the 2025 AFCON, and I look at their technical team. I look at the motivation for these guys, and I look at how they played against Algeria. Take out that early goal and that red card, that needless red card, and I definitely would have foreseen them being able to make a good fight out of that game. And so, yeah, I look at all that, and I look at the opposition, and yeah, they are pretty much on the same level. Yeah, I'll definitely go for a win for Sudan. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised Sudan ends up beating Equatorial Guinea.
Okay.
But
Eugene, Gabon, Mozambique.
But first off, on the basis of Sudan, whether it was a red card or not, they had it coming. They would have considered.
But I don't think they would have lost by 3 goals to 0.
And I don't
think they would have lost by 3 goals to 0.
I
11
think
against 11.
they should have lost more.
Maybe 2-0. Yeah, okay. But 3-0, I don't think.
I think Ojera wasteful because Boneja even hadn't even laced his boots yet. It was Mahrez and Ibrahim Maza who had a good game. If Boneja had laced,
I like Maza a lot.
Yeah, Maza is I think he's Leverkusen as well, a young German player. I think it's for me on the basis of what I saw Equatorial Guinea play against Burkina, with all Burkina's established defenders and players abroad. I think they'll have a good day against Sudan, even though African football is unpredictable. But Gabon, Mozambique, I loved the rejuvenation we saw from the Gabonese team. Immediately, Lemina and Aubameyang were brought in.
Yeah.
Obviously, from that time, but I think there's a problem I realized. This guy who plays in the LAFC.
For Gabon?
Yeah. There's Alevina, there's Bupenza. I think Bupenza died. The other guy, I'll try to remember his name. I'll try to remember his name. The problem I realized with Gabon is they are all going for glory individually over the collective. So there are so many moments where Aubameyang was open,
laid a pass,
and he won't do it. So many times also where Aubameyang had the ball.
I saw that in the World Cup qualifiers.
Exactly. Aubameyang has the ball. He should lay on. I've forgotten this guy's name. He plays for LAFC. I'll try to remember his.
Let me check for you.
Bouanga. Dennis Bouanga. Thank you, Dennis Bouanga. So there are so many moments where Bouanga is open. Aubameyang should lay on the pass. He'll blast the ball over, and vice versa. So I think if they sort that out, they are fine. Because against Cameroon, they had really good chances to have equalized. That game should have ended in a draw, but kudos to the Cameroonian defense for that. So I think on the basis of that, for me, I think when I spoke to Tom Cypher, he says Group A was the group of death, but I believe Group because I've seen what Mozambique did to Ghana and what Mozambique have done. They are spoilers. When they come into they might not qualify from the group, but they would make sure that one team
was difficult for you.
Yeah. Whatever party you are trying to.
That Sudan-Algeria game, after Sudan conceded the first goal, they had some 2 decent opportunities Luka Zidane's son, who is the goalkeeper for Algeria. He had to pull off some 2 decent saves.
That's true.
Other than that, he doesn't save it.
And they're right back in the game.
Sudan will be back in the game. And so for me, I look at all those permutations and all those instances. I have to give it to Sudan when it comes to picking the winner between them and Equatorial Guinea for tomorrow. So Sudan win for me over Equatorial Guinea.
Okay. And maybe that's the problem with Algeria.
That's
the problem with Algeria as well. They have a good team, but I think their defenders is the issue. Funny now, they play in big teams. Ben Simmons with Dortmund. I think Aissa Mandi has been in the national team for like over 10 years. But when you combine them
collectively,
there's something lacking.
Eight Nouri. In the first game, he was like Barbara Man against Portugal. He was the weak link in the first.
But generally, I think he's been struggling at City to even establish himself in the squad.
So I'm sure he's carried that.
He's carried the struggles.
He struggled for a while. Later on, he now got his groove and he was able to do a few things. But I think Algeria Burkina, that one I think I would fancy Algeria over Burkina. But the Gabon Mozambique is the issue.
We'll see how those games play out.
I'll give you
to Gabon. But they should just be a little bit cautious with the way they play the high line. Their high line is a bit too reckless. Cameroon had multiple opportunities, chances over and over again in transition.
Maybe
just a simple pass, then their whole setup was open. For me, I think they should be a little bit more compact and a little bit cautious when they are attacking and when they are setting up their high line. I mean, yes, the offside is there, VAR is working, but you can't pin your hopes on being able to catch your opponent consistently via the offside trap, I think is a bit too risky. If they can handle that and be a bit more disciplined in that regard, oh yeah, I definitely see them beating Mozambique.
Okay. Alright, so that's the update from the ongoing AFCON in Morocco.
From the Pharaohs of
97.3.
Eagles flight, the Atlas Lions roar with might. The elephants of Cote d'Ivoire charge ahead. Teranga Lions never dread. The black star shining.
Well, let me just run you through the updates from the English Premier League as well. Arsenal have taken the lead against Brighton. Brentford 2, Bournemouth 0. Burnley are playing a goalless draw with Everton. Liverpool 2, Wolves 0. Hey, Liverpool. Charlie. He said Wolves here 2 points. They should be able to beat Wolves.
If you catch Wolves and you're making it a difficult thing this season.
Yeah. Let me see who scored for. Oh, your man scored.
Hey, shout out to young Flo.
Viet has scored.
Isn't this his first goal in the Premier League?
Yeah, so
first.
assist last week, goal this week. Yeah,
And then Ryan Gravenberch. Jeremy Frimpong also assisted for Liverpool.
he's on a roll.
Yeah. So
That's nice.
The Bournemouth game,
Bournemouth
then our boy.
I know.
let me check.
I know Kevin Shaddy opened a scoring for Brentford.
Bournemouth are losing to Brentford.
Yeah, 2-0.
Okay.
Kevin Shaddy, yeah.
I thought you said
Petrovic,
2-0.
Yeah, 2-0. An on goal from
Petrovic of late, is honestly, I used to rate Petrovic over Sanchez, but this season,
Yeah, no, I think
On
this
the
season he's
basis-
struggling with Bournemouth. At Strasbourg, he was.
he was
I think
good.
he gave a decent account of himself,
And
and I
even
think
at
that's why
Chelsea-
even Bournemouth went for.
And at Chelsea, remember Sanchez was number 1.
Yeah.
He went off injured. Then Petrovic came in,
Back and put up a very good
and
performance.
he took the place. And I think then later on there was whatever change, and then he was off to Strasbourg. And I always rated Petrovic over Sanchez, but this season there have been too many situations where Petrovic has committed too many blunders, and I'm thinking it's beginning to get to him. And this is similar with, I don't know if it's that Chelsea Bournemouth switch. It happened with Kepa, and it's happening with Petrovic as well. I don't know. It's just about a sequence of.
Aretha Balaha.
I love when Coach Nime mentions that name.
Aretha Balaha. Every time I mention his name, it's only that incident in Mauritius area I remember.
Yeah. When
Young man, get off the pitch. He said, "Hey,
I still can't believe I watched that.
I said, young man, get off the pitch."
But I think I got where Kepa was coming from. He was trying to waste time by faking an injury.
Yeah.
And then Cyrus thinks that, okay, this is the time to bring on
Another player. And then Kepa says, nah.
It's just to waste time.
Okay. Let me take you to the Italian Serie A. We have 3 minutes to wrap up. Parma, like I said earlier, beat Fiorentina by 1 goal to 0. You didn't guess the Como scoreline. Como 3, Lecce 0. Fabregas cooking.
Lecce,
he's cooking.
But Lecce, let me check where they're on the table.
No, don't do that. For your
Lecce usually are supposed to be near the relegation, but
I think they are.
but I think
Lecce are. I'm trying to.
I think they're even punching above their weight this season because. Okay, they are slightly above. I think they are doing very well. 16 points. They are in the 16th position.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are doing very well because usually Lecce should have been down there. I think Genoa rather surprised me.
Yeah, Genoa. For what they did the last season, this season they are a bit disappointed. But I think Fabregas is doing. He's impressive.
I think you'll get Como to Conference League.
If he gets them European football, that would be
Conference League or Europa.
That would be big
next season.
That would be big for Como.
He's now occupying the spot for Conference League next season.
Yeah.
27 points.
Remember at the point
Juventus have 29 points, so just 2 points separating Juve and Como.
And he can actually, and the way Juve are behaving,
he can
can actually get in. If he does his things well, he can even get into Champions League
football. If he plays his cards well,
especially because I think that Roma are losing a few key players here. Dybala is on and off. Indika is one of their key players. Indika is off at the AFCON. So I think things will go off for like the next 3 to 4 weeks. So if Como do things well, I think even by January they should be in the top 4. So they can take an audacious leap and a leap of faith towards the.
No, but
Oh no, it's possible.
the thing is that the conference league football to a club like Como will be insane. So if he can leapfrog that's even the Europa League or the Champions League, I think he'll blow their minds away.
And truly, sometimes it's even better to start gradually. Maybe to go to Europa first. You see how Europa works.
Exactly.
And enjoy next season.
Usually when you
which team did that? Was it West Ham? No, Aston Villa.
Yeah,
It was Villa, right?
No, it was West Ham. West Ham won the Conference League,
and then
but they were trying to build on it, and they went on that whole run of firing managers, and they messed what they were doing up.
So I think when that happens, once he gets into
No, but Villa to have done it. Villa did the Conference League.
No, Villa.
Or they did not do.
No,
I thought they did.
Villa
came to Champions League.
Villa were trying to qualify to the Champions League last season.
Before the Champions League.
No,
it was the Europa.
It was the Europa.
And then they did
But Villa were in Champions League the season PSG won the Champions League. That was last season, right?
Last season, they went out.
West Ham won the Europa, the Conference League with David Moyes. Then the following season they brought in Kudus. Then they made it to the Europa League quarterfinal.
Yeah.
They lost to Atalanta.
Yeah.
They lost to Atalanta. It was Atalanta and Ademola Lookman, the team that he
against
Bayer Leverkusen. Yeah, they lost to Bayer Leverkusen. West Ham lost to Bayer Leverkusen in that.
Yeah.
That was the round Atalanta made to Leverkusen.
And then
they lost to Bayer Leverkusen in the quarterfinal of the Europa League. Then the season ended. Yeah, they finished at 8th, and the fans weren't too happy with David Moyes. Then they let him go, brought in the Petegui. Then now they are here. But I look at the games that we've seen so far. And I looked at that goal that Florian Wirtz scored, and I saw the role that Ekitike played in that goal. Mm-hmm. He dropped deep. He was able to maintain possession, and quick exchange of passes. Then Florian Wirtz was played in on goal. He was making the run, and that's what you love to see. Once Ekitike, because of his mobility and his versatility, he drops deep or he floats out wide to the right side or to the left side. That's where you need Florian Wirtz to be able to step up or move up the field and occupy that space and be able to be in that position that made him so good and so successful at Bayer Leverkusen. That's what you need. And that's why I've always held this belief that, contrary to what many people say, because of how this whole project has gotten off to a slow start, they do have a vision in place, and it is to replicate what they had, but in a different way, with this new collection of players, what they used to have with Sadio Mane, Salah, and Bobby Firmino, with Isaac, Ekitike, and Florian Wirtz. And you have a situation where Florian Wirtz will be the one playing a bit deeper, and those two tall guys up front, because they are intelligent, because they are versatile and quality, they can play off each other. It's so simple. They can easily play off each other in a situation where both can drift out wide, and then you have Florian Wirtz being able to carry the ball, progress the ball through the middle to be able to score. And the goal he scored, that's how you envisage it. He being able to carry the ball or be able to receive a pass from deep or through the middle and be able to carry it on and score a goal. And so for me, look, before he got to Liverpool, if you were grading him, he was a slower version of Eden Hazard, more or less, with the way he plays, his dribbling ability, his vision, his passing. He was a slower version of Eden Hazard. His dribbling ability is on point, but he's not as fast as Eden Hazard. I mean, that's not even close. But that quality is there, and so I'm really interested to see how they replicate these kind of sequences, Liverpool, these kind of motion, these kind of plays, to ensure that he builds his confidence a little bit up, because confidence is key. The quality is there. Let's not get it twisted. Forget about what you've seen over the past 5-6 months. Before Florian Wirtz got to Liverpool, how did you view him? What was the assessment on him? What was the grade on Florian Wirtz? He was ranked as one of the best players in the world, the young talent in the world. So he won't go bad overnight. It just won't happen. He's too good to go bad overnight. It's just the confidence issue. Trust me, confidence does a lot of things for players or for athletes. And once that confidence gets back up, then he'll be able to show that true quality that he has, and he'll be fine. But Liverpool do need to put him in these kind of positions that got him this goal to be able to get himself to that level. And so for me, yeah, I think they should be fine. And at this point, they are looking at 7 games in a row where they haven't lost, and this will be their 5th win. So yeah, they are getting themselves back to that level where everyone expected them to be. But I think that run where they were just losing games all over the place, I think it has affected them to the point that I realistically don't see them winning the title. Maybe they can get a good cup run, maybe in the Champions League or FA Cup, but the league title, I just don't see
It's over.
Arsenal, Man City, and even Aston Villa going so bad to the extent that Liverpool will be able to win all those games and be able to catch up and surpass them. I just don't see it.
All right. Just at 5 p.m. there is Udinese taking on Lazio. Pisa will take on Juventus at 7:45 p.m. in the Italian Serie. For the EPL, the final game for today is at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea will be playing Aston Villa at 5:30. We'll be here tomorrow to run you through all the updates and also build up to tomorrow's games as well. Let me take some messages and it's a wrap from us. I'll go to WhatsApp and then go to YouTube as well. Enoch from Nungwa says, Arsenal will win the league and I see Liverpool dropping points against Wolves today. Hashtag the Gunners. Okay. Sheki is the standing of the season so far. I can't see an argument against. I think he didn't complete your message. Joshua from Nungwa. Good afternoon, crew. Nigeria will win by 2-1. Yegbe Christopher from Peace Land. On YouTube, Kwame357 says, Wolves are terrible. What do they do at training? Liverpool 2, Wolves 0. Florian Viet has scored though. Okay, yeah, we've spoken about it. I think the messages earlier was in relation to when Yao says Declan Rice would be whipping in the crosses. People say they disagree.
Didn't they watch the first half?
Maybe I'm sure you can.
Didn't they watch the first half? Did they see the number of crosses that he whipped into the box?
Yeah, let's see if that will continue for Rice though. But that's a wrap from us. Thank you, Kelvin Adam Kai, Eugene Soti, and also Yao Jamie inside. Technical support from Desmond. From Desmond Nyako. We're back same time tomorrow, the Sunday edition of the Republic of Football. I'm Gabi Affair. Thank you so much for listening to us and also texting into the show on YouTube and on WhatsApp as well. We appreciate you. Do take care of yourself. There's some more interesting shows for you on 97.3. I'm out.